Hi Cancer, welcome to September 2018. Yay, I'm back. Now this is a turning point month for you, is what I'm seeing in here. Is, by the end of the month in September, for some of you, you may be deciding to move on from where you're working. You may go start your own business. It's time for you to take a chance and leave the job behind. And it's really not a big gamble because this is something you've been wanting to do for a while now. Now, as you go into September, there's a lot of positive energy because Mercury is direct now. Yay! And he is entering Virgo on the 5th. And he forms a gorgeous grand Earth trine to Saturn in Capricorn and Uranus in Taurus. Now with Saturn in Capricorn, it's show time for Cancers. When Saturn moves above the horizon like this, and this is a time where it's about moving up in whatever you're doing. And this is, this is showtime. This is where the spotlight is on you, the world is looking at you and what you're doing, and it's time to go for it because the decisions you make now can really propel what you do for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that's why it's really important what you're deciding right now. And I see it as a time for you, Cancer, where it's not, don't play it safe. Even though you're going to do that, you're going to do the, should I play it safe or should I, take a risk? And, I think the stars are in your favor to go for it. Now, with this grand Earth trine right at the beginning of the month, this is great for communication, conversation, social media, if you are a writer or, a speaker, entertainer, someone who shares what they know, their gifts with the world. This is a fabulous time for you to be out in front of the public, out in front of the world, sharing yourself on social media, on YouTube, and so on. So, whether it's, crafts or art or cooking or anything that you do, astrology, tarot, now is the time for you to be out there and let the world know how gifted you are. Saturn moves direct on the 6th. Yay! This is good news. He has been retrograde since April 17th. So think about what you've learned about yourself since, the beginning of this year, since April, since he entered Capricorn, which was on winter solstice in December. And what you've learned about relationships, the relationships you have, whether it's who you're with and partnered with, or your public, your clients, your customers, your patients, whoever you work with, what's been going on there? What changes have you needed to make? Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to go after what you want. Now, Venus enters Scorpio on the 9th, and Scorpio is your sister sign. So this brings the action to true love, romance, being sexy. That's awfully fertile, too. For any of you that want to get pregnant, you are fertile. Or if you don't, be aware, you're fertile. Now, of course, pregnancy is not just our physical giving birth, which is fabulous, but it's also giving birth to a new business. It's about giving birth to a new project. So you could be giving birth in here. And you have the Virgo New Moon right there in the area of communication and conversation. And this is a great time for those of you that are partnered, or you're working with your public, or you're working with other people, and really communicating your ideas, your knowledge, your insight, your intuition. You're very intuitive, and your hunches. Now's the time to trust those hunches. And I love starting something new right after a new moon. So if I'm going to launch a new course, or I'm going to launch a new product, or a new service, or a new business, I always do it right after a new moon and before a full moon. Because when you do it in that 2-week area, that is the time where whatever you launch, it can grow and it can take on a life of its own and be very successful. And you are lunar babies, you're ruled by the moon, so you very much feel new moons and full moons. No one can tell you, you know more about the full moon than anybody, and the lunar cycles. And so be aware of that. And this is a wonderful Virgo new moon. Pluto is in positive energy flow with the new moon. Jupiter is sextile the new moon. And so there's a lot of energy here going on. Now, Neptune is opposing the moon. And so, that I see that as creative and spiritual, though, for you. I see it as an energy where you could really use this. If you're writers, if any of you are creators, writers, pulling in this creative Neptune energy, but using it in a practical way, being very aware of how you're using this energy to be productive and creative. So we want to balance that, fantasy and dreaming with practicality. How practical is my idea? How practical is my dream? How practical is what I'm here and I'm doing? How practical am I with this? And there's a powerful T-square off of Venus at the same time with Uranus and Taurus is opposing Venus, and they're being T-squared by Mars. Now, for some of you, this could be the start of a new relationship. This can be the time where there's intense attraction and chemistry and romance, and you maybe even feeling very sexy. You're just feeling your sexuality, and you've met someone, and you're very attracted to them, and you want to see where it goes. And that's great. Now, for some of us, it can be, where this is the start of a really big relationship. For some of us, it could be where it could be a one-sided relationship. So you want to be aware of that, because when you have T-squares like this, they can represent triangles where you're really into the person, but you've got to compete with their work. They're always working, so they're never home or available to date. Or you find out they got an old girlfriend or boyfriend that's hanging around. And so do your homework, because you don't want to get involved in something where you find like you're doing all the work, and they're not stepping up, and that you're not fully receiving from the relationship. But you will have that figured out by the Aries full moon. That's why I like the Aries full moon too. So, it could also be a project where, there's a project being offered to you, and this project, or a business opportunity, and it comes in and it sounds really good and interesting, and then it's like, wait a minute, why do I have to put up all the money? Or why am I doing all the work in this? So just make sure that it's not one-sided in whatever you're doing, that everybody's pulling their weight, and that whoever you are attracted to, that you're not more attracted than they are, because then you're doing all the work in the relationship. And you can't, when we like people, it isn't like, oh, let me just love her more, love him more, and then he'll see the light. It doesn't work that way. Givers attract receivers. They attract takers. And so if you're doing all the work, they're just going to take and take and take, and then you're going to be like, now why did I go into this? Now why did I agree to this? And so be aware of that. It could be fabulous. It could be awesome. But it could also be where it's very much one-sided. And you want to be aware of that. Mercury enters Libra on the 21st, and then you have the Libra equinox on the 22nd. happy fall in the northern hemisphere, boo-hoo for us, and happy spring for the southern hemisphere, lucky ducks. And so that brings the action to your foundation. And it's good because, this is a time of year where you're working on, communication, being out in the world, socializing, networking, passing out your business card, letting people know you're around and available, and then energy moves to the home and the foundation, and strengthening the home and the foundation. Now, the Aries full moon is happening in your career, in your profession, in your reputation in the world. And the Aries full moon is coupled with Chiron. So this could be a time where you're feeling like, I'm not feeling appreciated at work, I don't feel like I'm being validated, and so I'm going to leave. And don't be surprised if some of you leave your job at the end of the month, that you decide to go out on your own, that you decide to start your own new business, that whatever you've been working on and cooking up, since December, since January, certainly since April, now is the time to take action. Now is the time to do it. And so if you do, move out of the job by the end of the month, you want to wait for the Libra new moon if you're going to launch something new. And so, or if you launch it now and then leave at the end of the month, you could do that too. And so, you're going to be really looking at that at the Aries full moon because, full moons are oppositions and we've got two sides. On the one side, we've got, the Sun and Mercury in Libra. Oh, let's play it safe. Let's stay at home where it's safe, But then you've got that moon in Aries, which is all about putting ourselves out there. Aries is entrepreneurial. Aries is the risk taker. Aries is the adventurer. He is the soldier. He's the one out there with the sword going forward. Knight of Swords. And actually, he'd also be the Knight of Wands because Wands is fire. And so Chiron is coupled with the moon there in that area of your profession in the world, your reputation in the world, and Saturn is T-squaring this full moon. He's T-squaring the moon in Chiron and the Sun and Mercury. Now, with Saturn challenging the Sun and Mercury in Libra, that's where don't get stuck in no decision. Because it's very easy for us to get stuck in the no decision thing with Saturn challenging the Sun and Mercury in Libra. Because that is the Achilles of Libra, is not making a decision. It's not, make a decision and make it right. You know what I mean? Even if later you want to change it, you can do it. But make a decision. But here, for you, it is, do I play it safe and just, stay, or do I follow my burning desire and start my own business or move on to something new? You're really going to be feeling this at this time. And it's important that you go for it, that you take that chance. Because you know what? It's not as big a gamble as you think it is. That this is really the time for you to be pushed out of the nest, to be pushed out of where you are, because you're done. You've outgrown it. You are ready to move on to something else. And you're ready. So, without risk, there is no reward. So you want to be open to taking chances. You want to be open to trying something new. And you're really more prepared for the consequences than you may think. Like, you really are prepared to do this. You are prepared to, start this new business, start a new job, move on to another organization, whatever it is, because you're all on your own unique life path. And it's going to affect each one of you in your own unique way. On the surface, it can look like a huge risk. But really, it's not. Because you've gone as far as you can go. And if your heart's not in it, and Saturn is pointing that out to you, if your heart is not in it, what are you doing there? If our heart is not into something, we're not going to be good at it. We're not going to be effective. And we're not going to get the results we want. And so, it's kind of like staying in 7th grade or 12th grade. It may be comfortable, it may be familiar, but you can't stay forever because it'll just stunt your growth. And so if it's being shown to you that you're not being appreciated, you're not being validated, you're not growing, why not move on to something bigger and better? Why not spread your wings and fly? Why not give yourself that opportunity to see what you can do on your own, in your own environment? I think it's very exciting what's happening here for you, for all of the Cancers. This is a really good month because everything is moving forward now. Mercury moves through 2 signs. He enters Virgo on the 5th, then he enters Libra on the 21st. Saturn goes direct on the 6th. Mars is now back in Aquarius and moving forward, and he has been stalled out for months. And then Pluto moves direct on the 30th. So there's all this forward movement now. And it's time to apply what we've learned, what you've learned during the retrograde summer, the summer of retrogrades. That's what I call it, the summer of retrogrades. And it's time to apply what you've learned here in this summer of retrogrades in your life and to take that action. Because this is a call to action. And this is a turning point in your life. This is a turning point. And whatever decisions you're making with Saturn and Capricorn, it's time for you to really show the world what you can do and how capable you are. And whatever you build at this time, you can really see it grow for the years ahead, the decades ahead. And so don't play it safe. This is your time to take a risk and take a chance and go after what you want. Now, for those of you open for love, well, it's on. You have Jupiter in that area of relationships and romance and true love. And now Venus is there, and she's going to camp out there because she's going to retrograde in Scorpio next month. And she'll be there, for most of September, all of October, all of November. And so, this could be a time where you also, are incredibly creative. You're being very creative in your work. You're being very creative in this new business. And it's also a time where you're having fun and you're feeling sexy and fertile and just wanting to strut your stuff and show the world what you can do. Go for it. Do it. Be open to love. Be open to commitment. Saturn is there in the area of commitment, and he's direct now. So is it time for a new commitment? Is it time to take the relationship to the next level? For those of you committed, you're really going to want to have fun with your nearest and dearest this month because of Venus, because of Jupiter. So make sure you're carving out time to have fun with those that are nearest and dearest to you, especially your partner. How is the money going with you? If you're not feeling like you're being paid the right way, if you're not being supported where you are, then, what do you got to lose? Maybe it is time to strike out on your own. And that's what I'm seeing in the career. There's a big light here being shined on your profession in the world, your destiny in the world, your career in the world this month. And this is an opportunity for you to really look at, the energy you're putting in and what you're getting back. And is it equal? Or, is it out of balance? Saturn is showing us where we're out of balance at the Aries Full Moon. So, where is it out of balance? Is there too much focus going on in the personal life and the personal relationships at the expense of your career and the work you do in the world? Or have you been too focused on your work at the expense of yourself, at the expense of your personal life, where you don't feel like you have a personal life because all you do is work? you're going to have an opportunity to see that too. Is with Saturn, he is going to point that out to you. And, maybe if you already work for yourself, it's time to, give yourself a vacation or take more time for yourself. If you're the boss, you have to, you have to tell yourself, we're taking Friday off, we're taking the weekend off, we're taking Monday off. We're doing these things for ourselves so that we are living our best life and enjoying our life and having fun. You've got Jupiter in that area of fun and play and joy. And so you want to make sure that you're having enough time so that you can meet new people and have fun and grow and make those changes in your career. It's not time to play it safe anymore. It's time to put yourself out there. It's time to take a risk. And you're far more prepared for the consequences than you think. You are. You're ready for the change. You really are. Spiritually, it's all about listening. It's about taking that time for self. Because when you take time for self, you're taking time for source. Because the soul within you is being nurtured and loved. And so you want to make sure you're nurturing you and loving on you so that you're listening and hearing what you need and what's right for you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, favoring, sharing, and Google Plusing my videos. Cancer, you're rocking awesome. Thank you for subscribing. You totally rock. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps to support the channel, and it also lets you know when I've uploaded new videos. So until next time, Cancer, follow that burning desire. See where it takes you. See what opens up for you. It's exciting.